guys, welcome to another stream of mine, only this time I'm doing a whole different kind of thing with the Twister Cup. Tonight and tomorrow and on Sunday evening I'll be streaming the Echelon finals, from the top echelon that is. And today we have day 1 and I'll be following one random team in the start, I have no idea who. And after that we will be switching to Immortals and I should be following them. So with that in mind, I'm gonna take away the image and I'm gonna show you what my game sees. So tonight, like I said, I'm not sure who I'm gonna be following at first, but after that we will be following Immortals, and if it loads, that would definitely help. It's a bit slow, there we go. And they don't actually have the first round, which is why I follow a random team at first. But after that we see them on against Pax, against Abuse and against Lexon. And so that's going to be interesting clan matches to see. I've not actually followed Immor before, I'm not sure how they play, but I really like their clan generally, so I figured that it would be really fun to follow them. And of course it helps that they are led by a woman, which for me is an extra reason to like following them, because there's too few girls in the game. And yes, she is not part of the team from what I saw, but all the same, great person. So I'm gonna enjoy following them. And I'm just gonna be hanging out in the garage a little bit while we talk a bit tournaments. Actually, no, I'm gonna go back there, because when you look at the top echelon, these are the clans that made it through. You have Beton, you have H1Z1, you have Hapkey, RZ, Kraken Esports Team, Live, Pat, Tercios Españoles, and then in group 2 you have Alert, Alum, Immor, Lexon, Pax, Abuse and Win. So these are all pretty evenly matched teams, stats wise that is. And it's gonna be, should be really good battles. I have no reason to think otherwise. And like I said before in other streams, I really like competitive gameplay. I like being able to commentate. And it's kind of like having a front row seat, and everybody not necessarily wants to hear your opinion, but gets to hear your opinion. So yeah, that's basically what we're gonna be doing tonight. And we're gonna see the first match in about 9 minutes with a clan I don't know yet. Room will be up in a few minutes, so then we can see who we're streaming and where we're streaming and what clans we will be seeing. So I'm just starting YouTube right now, which is always a little bit of a wait, which is one reason why I start a little bit with the image, so that not what I say gets cut off so much. There we go. And we are officially live. And of course you all hear this in like 5 minutes, because, well, there's a delay and everything, and this is to make sure that people do not see each other's lineups before the game actually starts. They can't give each other information. They can't see where the enemy is going or anything like that. So that generally just, the delay is a good thing. Even though it's a bit annoying, because it's absolutely useless for me to respond to the chat, because anything that I respond to is something that you will only be hearing like 5 minutes later, and the conversation will be completely in an opposite direction by then. So yeah, that would be quite useless. So I have the game ready. I'm ready for the room to pop up, which can be in 1 or 2 minutes. And then we're gonna see what happens. So overall, Twister Cup so far has been really exciting. I hope you guys have enjoyed the games as much as I have. And the streams and all the Twister coins and all of that. And when I didn't quite fully understand the whole Echelon Championship, if I'm honest. And that has a lot to do with the fact that it was not advertised all that much. And it works a little bit confusing, but basically the winner of the Echelon Championship gets to go against the number 2 of EU. The winner of that gets to go versus the same kind of guy as team from the RU server. There we go. Okay, we're with LM. And the winner of that EU versus RU thing will be going to the offline event as well. It's the wild card. So with that in mind, it's a very interesting tournament in its own. So yeah, that's basically what I'm going to be doing and why I wanted to stream this, because, well, it's competitive gameplay. I think it deserves more attention than it has gotten. So now we're just going to see what they're going to do, what they're going to pick. We have 4 minutes left to go before we actually start a battle. We're going to start on Desert Sands. I actually have a little Desert Sands map somewhere. Let me dig it up. There it is. And as it all happens in Supremacy, this is the place of the bases, roughly, because it's not completely exact, but it works. And this is well, all maps are tricky, and tricky is kind of a word that I seem to be using a heck lot. And that has everything to do with the fact that every map is challenging in its own way. And you can hold base B, and you can decap base B. Base C, I mean, and you can decap B, but generally Desert has better positioning, but you need fast tanks in order to dominate the desert. Otherwise you can dominate it later, but it will take a lot longer. So, for me, in randoms, I generally tend to go desert, unless I'm driving a very slow and heavy tank, because then you don't want to have all those hills and everything. But we're gonna see what they're gonna do. We have no clue yet. These are completely different teams than what we've been seeing in the Twister Cup round robins. So they will each have their own playstyle, and we haven't seen them yet, so we'll see. So I'm gonna remove the map now. We have 2.5 minutes left to go. And Alam seems to have picked their tanks now. We have a 268, an E5, 2 IS-7s, an IS-4, another 268, and a Batchat. So that's relative mobility with a little bit of big troll armor and a Batchat, which is meep meep soof soof. And I think with that setup they could be going desert, because the Batchat would get support from the Object 268s, and Object 268 together with the Batchats can be devastating to any mediums that they meet. So on Pax's side, they haven't really readied up yet, so I'm not sure what they're going to be driving. They have 1 minute and 36 seconds left to go before they need to be ready. And by the way, anyone that is watching, watch through the portal, so then you get Blitz coins, by the way. Twister coins, I should say. And with the Twister coins you can get crates, and with the crates you support your favorite teams, and you get stuff. So that's always a fun thing. So with 1 minute and 9 seconds left to go, Pax is not ready up yet, but they seem to be pretty steady on the tanks. I don't see many changes. So if they were to enter the battle right now, we would have a Batchat, a Foch, 2 Mice, 2 IS-7s, and an IS-4. And that's a lot of armor. And we see another IS. Yeah, we see... Ooh, that's a lot of IS-7s and IS-4s, to be honest. But we go back to the Foch, apparently. Okay, they're ready now. With a Batchat, 2 Mice, 2 IS-7s, a Foch, and an IS-4. And now we just have to wait until we actually enter the battle. "15 seconds left to go. Ready up, IS-7. You don't want to miss this." Oh, okay. One of the IS-7s has now turned into an AMX-50B. Autoloaders, in my opinion, are always a risk. They can work out really well, they can also really work against you. Here we go. Lots of different banners here. This is quite funny to see. I have no idea what he's saying. But that is not my name. Okay, so let's see what's gonna happen.
Let's get this show on the road.
I'm gonna go up in the way and see what they do. We have the Batchat as expected going to the desert, and we have most of Elm going towards the desert, whereas Pax seems to be focusing on B and C. And there's some blind shots, well, not necessarily blind shots, there's some shots going on. Batchat did some nice spotting, but Elm will have the point advantage because they will have a base first. So that's gonna make things interesting. Batchat is firing some shots, and I think they need to decap B, because you don't want to give them that point advantage. But they're in pretty good positions overall. Like I said, Desert generally does have better positioning, but it looks like Pax will be able to have B and C, and that will make things very tricky for Elm, because, well, once capped, those bases are hard to steal, and that's exactly what they're gonna have to do if they want to win the game, basically, because now all Pax has to do is hold, and they can hold in the city, and Elm will have to make a push somewhere in order to get stuff done. So we see some shots going on, and some damage being taken here and there, but nothing too big. But Pax definitely has the advantage now, and like I said, they just need to hold. It will be Elm that needs to make the push, and that was a nice shot by the E5 there through the train tracks. It's one reason why I like that position. And why I like the E5, because it allows you to do these kind of things. And Eagle is steadily losing health. And most of the team of Pax seems to be content in waiting. And that was a big shot into I1 Chocolate, but he did take another one off the Eagle. But basically, Elm will need to make a big push if they want to take this. Because we have a side-scraping IS-4, which will be hard on its own. If he pulls back a little bit more, because now he's showing his lower frontal plate. We have the Batchat going around. We have Elm at both sides at the tracks, but not really anywhere where they can make a confident push. But now, if they were to realize that the mouse is on his own, and that the IS-4 is low on health and on his own, that's very tricky. Ooh, those were big shots into the IS-7 there. And Elm definitely has to make the push now. They do kill Eagle, but they lose their IS-7, and they will need to take both bases if they want to basically survive this. They are finishing off a mouse very quickly, but that was a big shot into the IS-7. The IS-7 is almost gone, and he can't cap the base. He's gone. Elm needs to cap that base, needs to take it if they want to win this. Gun-wise, it's pretty even. HP-wise, it's going both ways. Guns are disappearing left and right. And it will be all about focus fire and who shoots who. They need to shoot low health targets. And it looks like they're giving up I1 Chocolate in favor of killing the Foch. The 268 is gone. Foch is gone. It's 3 versus 3 now. But Elm has all the bases. So as long as not too many people die, because if one more dies from Elm, then they've lost this. And that will be very tricky, because we have an AMX that needs killing, but the E5 is almost dead. And if he doesn't survive... Ooh, but now they're capping the base, and this is very tricky. E5 is not allowed to die if Elm wants to win this. But he does die. But ooh, that's actually still... No, they have the chance. But they can't let Pax cap, and Pax just capped. So they're getting points again. And the only thing that the Batchat can now do is literally drive in there. Or kill the Batchat very fast. He doesn't have the shots for that. So the first game is Pax, but oh my god, that was really, really close. Very well played. High on action. So that was quite lovely, to be honest. I think that if Alum had pushed earlier and killed that IS-4 earlier, it would have been a bigger difference. And it could have gone either way. So in 1 minute and 15 seconds we're gonna enter the second battle. Alum has already completely readied up. We see a 183, a Foch, a 113, a Mouse, an IS-4, a 268 and an STB. So again, relative mobility with a little bit of very big armor. And on the other side we see a Batchat, a 113, a Foch, an IS-7, an IS-4, a 268 and a Patton. So that's a completely different lineup. And that's going to be cool to see what they do, because with this lineup both teams could be focusing on going desert. And that will make an interesting lineup, especially with the Death Star. But it will be tricky for the Death Star to get shots in, because, well, people at this level know how to play. They know how not to stand out in the open and wait for the Death Star to shoot them. But if he gets those shots in, he can be a game changer. So it will be cool to see. And in 15 seconds we're gonna see the second match. And this is all best of 3, so the first guy that wins 2 matches wins. So with that way, the pressure is on Pax already. And here we go. And there's my poor corpse of the Haven. I keep saying it in English, but it should be German. Death Star is a tank that I both like and hate. And not because it can do big damage, that's basically why I like it. I dislike it because it misses shots so easily. And that can be very annoying. So as expected, the 1A3 is gonna go towards the desert and probably hanging out at the train tracks. The STB is spotting. We have Pax that is making a push into the desert, and the STB might be in a lot of trouble there. There's some blind shots going on there with where they expect people. Both teams are taking a base. And that was the first shot going and no damage done yet. But a lot of people haven't been spotted yet, and we see the traces, but they don't. So now the desert base is Pax's, city base is Alum's, but neither have gone for B, and I think that's a good call, because they would have probably been slaughtered. But it's easier to hold the city than it is to take the city. So that will be tricky, because it will all depend on who pushes over the train tracks where, and if they get away with it, basically. We have the IS-4 focusing on the STB, the STB wisely pulling back, so they can't get a crossfire from anyone that might be at the other side of the train tracks. But overall, there's not all that much that they can do. It's basically a stalemate like this. And I would absolutely love it if someone would take the time right now to call the Sandworm, but I have a feeling that they're not going to do that. Which also makes quite a lot of sense. I probably would do it just to troll. Especially when it's a stalemate like this. So we have some shots going on, but no damage being done. Both teams are full HP right now. A lot of spots on, well, 5 tanks spotted right now. But not much is happening, and basically we're waiting for anything to happen. Alum has a very, very, very small point advantage. And over here we see the guys peeking at over the train track, trying to get shots into the other side, but they're not really peeking out that far. So it's not easy for them to get shots in. And they're not really peeking out themselves. No one seems to be making a move. We see the first HP damage going on over there. Blind shots being taken. Well, not blind shots. Shots being taken, but misses. And that was very little HP to be done to begin with. And like I said, the pressure is on Pax. A, they need to win this match in order to get a point and to have a chance at getting a point. And B, they have a slight, very slight point disadvantage. Alan will reach 1k points first. But they seem unsure what to do. And the 113 in the middle is getting damaged. So now we're just basically waiting to see if anyone will do anything. Shots being taken in the middle. But they're in quite a good positioning. So relatively little damage is done. We have the 183 that is rearing to get a shot. That was half the damage that you would expect from 183, but still it's more than enough, especially since not a lot is happening. The SCB just took a big shot though. And overall, not a lot is happening. They're just patiently waiting for it to go up. And I think the SCB is in a very precarious position there. Because oof, there goes the 113, but the SCB is getting hurt a lot. And now the IS-4 is pushed over. The Foch is almost dead. And this will be very tricky because the SCB will have a hard time surviving this. There goes the SCB. And now we see a push on the other side. And there goes another LM tank. And it will be very tricky for LM to get this back. Because they will need to focus fire. They will need to work together if they want to make this work. That Foch needs to go if they want to win. And he goes. But it's 5 versus 5 right now. But the HP advantage is on LM's side. So that might work for them if they focus fire well. And now the 113 is rushing in to kill. And we see tanks falling on both sides. And they will need to work together in order to make this work. The IS-4 is coming for the 268. 268 kills him, 268 then dies. It's 3 versus 3. And both teams have a lot of points, so it will depend on who gets the kills, basically. And this is a very smart move by the 268. He's going into the base. And even though that may not save him... And there we go. LM makes the kill, and LM gets the points. And that is... pretty lucky because that 268 was making a very cool move there with just going back to get the base and avoid LM getting points. Well done. So I think that's the first matchup already over. With some really nice damage. Fun games this. Oh, we have another one? Oh yeah, of course, it's 1-1 now. Wait, I'm a little bit confused. Can I see that? No, I can't see. Oh, I can't see that. I thought the pressure was definitely on Pax, but it wasn't, so my bad. Sorry, guys. So we still get another match, which is actually fun because it means you see me not play on PC, which is a good thing because you don't want to. And let's replace. So onwards to map Faust, and Faust is a map that I really enjoy. It's such a fun map. This is briefly it. We don't have that much time, so I'm not going to linger on it. But basically, base A is above on the hill, base B is in the middle, down below, and base C and D are both in tunnels. It's one big reason why I absolutely love Faust. Complete chaos, lovely map. So on LM's side, we see a Foch, we see 4 IS-4s, we see a 113 and another Foch. And on Pax's side, we see 2 113s, 2 mice, an IS-7, a Batchat and a 268. So that's going to be interesting to see what they do there. They both have a nice mixture of armor and firepower and relative mobility. And here we go. There goes the missile. And where's my corpse? There's my corpse. Poor Haven. And here we go. Final match of 3. It's gonna be interesting. Pressure is on both. Of course, this is only the first of the round robins, so it doesn't necessarily have a big impact yet if you lose. But every point helps. So we have Alum not taking base D at all and straight on pushing forward. Whereas Pax is capping both base, and that's a very tricky thing. It looks like they're gonna rush. But that was a big shot into the IS-4 there. But that's big HP being lost by the mouse too. So this will be very, very tricky. And look at these guys. They're all together, but they're also getting in each other's way, and that is not a good thing. Pax has the base advantage. They have the point advantage. They need to be careful and not get in each other's way. The mouse is gone now, and Alum is pushing through. But they are losing HP. And Demoniac is in a lot of trouble here. He's almost gone. And as soon as either the 113, there he goes. But Pax has lost 2 guns now. And I'm just gonna head on over. Because there's shots being taken in the middle here. And the 113 is almost gone. But Pax has already lost 3 guns now, so that will be very tricky. Demon Lord is now hiding, which is a good thing. But they are taking that... Oof, that was a giant shot. And Wizard is not in good shape right now. It's currently 5 versus 4. And it's not looking good for Pax, even though they have the point advantage. There goes Wizard. And now it's 5 versus 3. And the Batchat is just way too YOLO. And why would you run into Fosh? That's not a good thing. And this is Alum's game. We see the 113 there. That's not going to survive for long. Especially not when he bounces. There we go. Both tanks gone. The game is Alum's. Alum gets the point. Well done. And now we are actually gonna wait for the next one. And I'm gonna see when that is in 10 minutes. So I'm not gonna show you a replay. Because, well, I don't want to risk missing the room somehow. And let's see. We should be starting with Immor on Main Rooms, and Dynasty Spiral. Versus Pax. We've just seen Pax, so that will be interesting to see. So I'm just gonna call up the map. Main Rooms. And this is what the map looks like. On one side you have base A, which is basically the heavy base. You have base C, which is basically the med base. And you have base B in the middle. And base B is always a hard base, because if you get it early, you have the point advantage. It will be very hard to get it stolen from you. But if you're there at the wrong place at the wrong time, you can get absolutely slaughtered there. Or you will be stuck and won't be able to help your team. So that makes this a very interesting map that way. And I'm interested to see what they're going to do here. Because you can go a lot of ways with a lot of different lineups. But overall I see a lot of teams just going for A and B mostly. Overseeing B and taking A. And potentially sending one med to C to scout out who's there. Or to scout in the middle to see anyone who's anywhere basically. So this is something that I like this map in randoms. I've seen pretty amazing things in tournaments here. Back in springtime, we actually had Pincer in the Mobile Masters. And they were so clever that they drove into base A and B to keep their enemy from getting any points. Basically what the Object 268 was doing just before. And that's such a nice move. It's an out-of-the-box way of thinking, and I really like that. So I'm gonna be enjoying watching the games on this map, and I'm always interested to see what different clans do on different maps. So in a few minutes the room should be up, and then we get to see some matches. Sorry. So after main runes, we got the map Dynasty Sprawl. And Dynasty Sprawl is a map that I both love and hate, and I love and hate it because, well, the positioning is really good fun. It's a city map with a little of a park on the other side. And there's a lot of dips and hills and thingies that you can peek from and over and everything. And that's something I really like. But it is a very, very small map. It's hard basically to run anywhere. And it's very easy to get caught basically. Because if you're a bad chat and you're like the only one against 3, it will be very, very tricky and hard for you to win that. Because the map is so small. So it's not easy to find cover. And that's one of the things that, makes this map both great and difficult. I don't think it's a map that a lot of draws happen on because of that. Of course, it's near impossible to get a draw on Supremacy. But still. So we will see what happens, and we will see what teams do, and we will see how they handle the size of the map and the bases and everything. But yeah, like I said, first we have main runes. And only then do we get to Dynasty Sprawl after the first 2 matches. So now we just wait and we can enjoy how pretty my Hafen looks. By the way, with the new tank that is also in the store, this is a press account, so I have everything. Tier 7, sorry. This thing, it looks quite nice. Looks a bit like a scent. Not too interesting, not too bad either. The DP on the thing is pretty awesome, but at the same time it's 10k gold. That's freaking much. So that's not something to take lightly, because that's a lot of money for a tier 7 tank. And the DPM is quite nice. It can be a little bit bouncy, but at the same time, as a British tank, it generally doesn't have that much armor. So let's just... Ooh, there's the room. There we go. Readying up and then going back to my haven, because that's kind of like my thing. Oh, this is funny. I can join the room with any tank that I want, but then I can't change them. Okay. So yeah, we are following Immor right now. And first match that we see will be up against Pax. And Pax is the clan that we just saw against Elm, so that's going to be fun to see their continued gameplay. And right now Immor is still missing some people. Pax is complete, but this is the first match that Immor has to play tonight. So that kind of makes sense. I doubt they will be with 2 people for very long. And Pax seems to be quite ready with a 113, an IS-7, another IS-7 actually also, a Yege, a Mouse, an IS-4 and an AMX 50B. But they are still changing things a little bit around, so not sure. And on Immor's side we see the teammates steadily streaming in. And I think that is a bug with the PC player. Pretty sure it is. Because I believe that's not allowed in this tournament, and I know that it has been a bug before. There we go, we have 7 players on Immor's side. Pax is ready with 3 minutes left to go. And we see on Pax's side the Batchat 113, IS-7, AMX 50B, IS-4, Yege and Mouse. So that's quite a bit of armor with a little bit of a lot of speed. And on Immor's side we see an IS-4, an E5, a 268, a 113, another E5, a Batchat, and potentially a T-57 Heavy, but he just unreadied, so he might be switching. I like seeing E5s in the tournament. They're amazing tanks, quite fun. And it will be forever one of my favorite tanks. It's no longer the favorite tank of mine, but it's a favorite tank. And I dislike that they removed the cupola. The tank was so incredibly troll before. So it's actually sad that they removed it, because now people just start aiming at different things, while it was so easy to bounce shots on that. Oh, we see a third E5, or potentially a swap of tanks. Let's see, they have 1 minute and 45 seconds left to go, so they have a bit of time. Yeah, we saw a swap of tanks. But E5 overall is like a heavium, and I love heavium tanks. I like mediums that are slow but with a bit of armor. Well, not slow, but slow-ish for mediums. And I like heavies that have a little less armor but more mobile because of it. And the E5 is exactly that kind of tank. So this should be great fun. And in 1 minute and 5 seconds we will be entering the battle on Mayan Ruins. And I'm seeing a lot of funny comments. But like I said, anything I say now in reply to that is to something that has been said like 5 minutes ago, so it's quite useless. But it's quite a lot of fun as well. I do read the chat though. So we're almost ready to go in, well, not almost. We still have a wait of 30 seconds. Still think the first wait for entering the battle is a bit too big and a bit too long. Not really a fan of that. But there's no choice and we have to be patient. And in 10 seconds we finally get to go. Two, one, here we go. Funny thing is that when loading into these battles, I'm always looking at it like I'm entering a random battle and I'm about to play a game myself. So I'll always start trying to read the teams and where I think they will be going and everything. But it's really not applicable to when you get to clan wars, basically, when you get to battles like this, because this is teamwork.
Let's go.
And there's stuff being said that I have no idea what it is. We have most of Immor going towards base B, with a little bit of A and the 268 probably covering the IS-4, where we have the Batchat capping the base, getting spotted, so leaving the base again. It will be tricky for him to get it, because most of PAX seems to be focused on C with a bit of B and overlooking base A. No one is at base A though, so the mouse has all the time in the world to steadily get there. We see the first shots going into PAX there and into the Batchat. And that is some nice focus fire on Eagle. And Eagle will need to be careful, because there's some big guns behind there, but he is losing a lot of health. And at the same time, the 113 is being eaten alive here, and he won't be able to make it out alive like that. And even though the IS-4 has managed to pull back now and he's safely in cover from his teammates, the 113 is almost dead, and there he goes. And that puts Immor back quite a bit straight at the start here. And now we see the Batchat. There are people being rushed. The Batchat is gonna hurt a lot. And this is not looking good for the Batchat. Unless for some miraculous reason that other Batchat manages to die. Which he just won't do, and now the Batchat is in big trouble. Because the other Batchat has reloaded. And he's almost dead, and he's not reloaded, and the Batchat will be dead now. Ooh, he somehow survives. But there's a lot of fire going on in the middle here. And it's 3 versus 2, and technically Immor should have this, but look at the HP being lost. And now they are focusing on the 113, but the IS-4 is probably not going to survive that. We have Batchat versus Batchat, but it will be very, very tricky. Because the Batchat is very low on health. There goes one of the Immor guys, but so far there's some big one-shots. But it is 5 versus 3 now, so it will be very tricky for Pax to get out of this one alive. But now the Jaeger is coming with a lot of health, and a mouse. And the mouse is trying to kill off the T-57 Heavy, which makes sense. The 268 is literally in the way. And he's trying to get that badge. He's now going down. But it basically means T-57 Heavy is being left to its own demise. And there he goes. But overall, Immor still has a lot of health left. And the mouse is almost dead. And that was a very good bounce for the mouse. But the Batchat is still there. The mouse is still there. And I think the 268s are going in to finish him off. And the Batchat just murdered himself. That's not really the way to go. That was an HG shot at the mouse. And though it's low health, it's still an HG shot. So that's not really a good thing. But the 268 will probably kill him now. There he goes. Because even the mouse can't withstand HG with 7 HP. And now we only have the Jaeger left. And even if he were to pen that shot, this is not looking good for the Jaeger against 4. And there he goes. First game goes to Immor. Well played. Quite aggressively. But well played. Look at the damage from the E5s. Oh, it's a lovely tank. Lovely to see them do that good. So now we have the second match on Main Runes. And Immor seems to be about readied up already. With 2 E5s, T-57 Heavy, 268, a 113, an IS-4 and a Batchat. Whereas Pax is switching things around a little bit. Judging by the fact that it just lost a player. And they seem to be going into the battle with an AMX-50B, a 113, an IS-7, another AMX-50B, an IS-4, a 268, and a mouse. And one of the AMXs just vanished, but there he is again. And this is something that I'm already noticing right now. In the Twister Cup top 8, the 113 got a lot of attention and was taking a lot. And the DPM on that thing is quite amazing. But at the same time, if it gets caught alone, it's not a tank that easily bounces shots. So that makes it a tricky tank to play. And now one of the AMXs has actually been exchanged for a 113. But I think that having 2 autoloaders can work out really well. Because 2 autoloaders generally can clip a tank together. The only trick is that all shots have to pen. And after that they are useless for around 20 seconds. So in 13 seconds we get to see the second battle. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. That's actually not nice. So now we're just waiting for everyone to load in. And here we go. There's the % kind of FV, kind of tier 7 premium thing.
Let's get this show on the road.
That was actually funny. He doesn't have the National Cruise sounds. It sounds like. So with the Batchat together with the 268 focusing towards base C, they are followed by the 113. And the rest of Immor seems to be focusing more on the B side with a little bit of overlook at A. And we have a Batchat versus 113, and both have been spotted. Neither is really capping the base. But we might see a troll cap here. But the 268 is there. And he's just been spotted. And that was a big shot into the 113 there. But look at this. This will be very tricky for them because there's a lot of tanks here. And ooh, that was a nasty shot into the Batchat. And the Batchat is pretty much gone. He's only just surviving somehow. And I think he's gonna run away, but I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to do that. That's a very lucky Batchat to survive. But this definitely puts Immor at a disadvantage over here. Because even with the big guns, there are 2 guns against 4, so that's very, very tricky. It basically means that Immor has to clean up things in the middle quite fast if they want to be able to support their team. T-50 Heavy has arrived. But ooh, the 113 is losing a lot of health, and getting stuck against rock doesn't help with that. But the other one in 113 is almost gone now, and now Pax has lost 2 guns. We see the mouse satellite being taken out. And now the E5 is pushing over to help his teammates, because they're quite low on health right now and they need the support. And even if it's just troll support, they need to be there. T-50 Heavy has reloaded now, and the 113 is going to be gone any second now. There he goes. And there goes the other 113 as well. Now tanks are just dropping left and right, but the AMX-50B is in a long bit of trouble, especially since he's reloading. And the IS-4 is just changing him, and it's gonna be a shot, and there he goes. So now it's 4 versus 2, but the Batchat is almost dead. And the T-50 Heavy is still reloading. So they need to focus fire together, and they're being quite smart about it. There goes T-57 Heavy. But while he's reloading, the Batchat has arrived, and he's actually making a cheeky shot. Base-wise, no one's kept any base, so it's not going to be about the points here. This is going to be about focus fire and who kills who. We have the IS-7. That is the only one left alive right now, and this is not looking good for the IS-7. Will Stroll armor or no? Against Primo? There he goes. And the second game is Immor's as well. Well played, fast game. And that was it for this match. Next match will be up in 16 minutes. So right now we see Adam has 1-1, Win has 1-1, Alert has 1-1, and Immor has 1-1 as well. So I'm not going to check the scores yet, I'm going to do that at the end. And over here it's pretty clear who won, because you have 4 teams with 1 point and 4 teams with 0 points. Come on, just load. So with that in mind, I'm gonna go and grab a replay for you guys to make it fun to watch. To give you something fun to watch, actually. And I do this mainly because I'm an absolute noob when it comes to PC. And basically you don't want to see me playing on PC. Because, well, I look really bad when I do that. I drive into things, can't aim and everything. Let's see which replay is next. I've already showed that yesterday, so that's not it. Trying to find where I left off, to be honest. Yeah, here's one for you. Let's go watch a tier 10 battle. Actually did show this one yesterday as well, but I'm gonna show it again because it was a wicked battle. And this is a tank that I've not necessarily struggled in, but yeah, more or less struggled in. And that's because it's not a standard map, it's quite high profile. It has quite a bit of armor, but it's also quite slow. And this is one of those battles where I just love the teamwork, generally. And I love the way that he's using this tank, because he's going to the right positions at the right angles, doing the right things. So he's just waiting here in the bush for his teammate to spot the enemy. And we see the first shot going in, and he gets spotted then. But he doesn't, he bounces nicely on his flank there, that's nice. And that was a slightly too hastily taken shot, because if he had aimed a little bit longer, I think that would have penned. And he's pulling back now. I think the E50M is wanting to go after his teammate. There's some nice butterflies flying around in sniper mode there. That is not really useful. And there we have the T-57 Heavy that is coming. And that was a nice double tap by both of them. That was lovely. Especially when he's not been spotted. This can work out so well. And he's still not been spotted. Now he has. I see a shot pen the building rather than him, luckily. And that was something that I think was quite useless. And if the T-62A hadn't looked around, he wouldn't have been able to pen that shot. And there goes his teammate to 1A3 at the back there. So right now he's still working this position, and this is something that I generally like. That if you have a good position, that you use it and that you stay in it. But at the same time, you don't want to stay there too long. You want to stay there for as long as you're effective there. And that's basically what he's doing, because the enemy is there and he can... Oh yeah, nice teammate, really nice. When you're holding in a position like this, you need to make sure that you're useful. In this case, you know that the enemy is there and he's not wasting shots, which is also a good thing, because it makes you useless for quite a little bit. And if you're not sure that it's gonna pen, you shouldn't try it. But when he knows that it's gonna pen, he goes straight in. And he's side-scraping. And for that, he can't make that second shot there. So the other E50M is still alive. You see a shot bounce on the wall there. But now the 268 is pushing. And that was lovely because of the way that he tracked the 268. It turned him around, and that meant that his shot missed by a mile. So now he's making an aggressive push. It's costing him some health, but not that much. But he kind of has no choice. He wants to get a few kills, but he's not able to. And he knows that there's another Death Star at the back there somewhere. And those can do really big booms. But the way that this guy is just driving there, unfortunately that shot misses. But the way that he's there, and now the Death Star has been spotted again, he gets a nice shot in. And he's not a one-shot, but this does buy him some time to see if he can kill off the other tanks. And he's nicely pulling back a little bit. And now it's 2 versus 4. And I think that this might not go well. Unless the FV does his job, which he does, and kills the guy. Our guy has currently already done near 4k damage, which is quite a bit. So well done to him. Kudos. And this is something I always like when they start going to the base, because there's no need to cap it yet. They've got all the time in the world, but because they're there, you can see with the way that the points go up that there's currently 1 person in the base. That means that 2 other tanks are running around, and even though you don't know which ones, it makes it so that you're harder to kill basically, because you're less likely to get shot because there's just 1 tank less. So now he's going actually towards the base, and that shot misses, and luckily he gets the HE in the track, which doesn't do all that much damage. But his 103 is being absolutely useless, and now he's making a good call by not going after that Death Star, because the Batchet is a bigger threat. He can deal with the DS later, and he's going around quite nicely, and you want to decap that base. Gets a nice cheeky kill going over the 4k border with that, and then he heads on towards the base. And I think he's gonna, yeah, he's definitely gonna be able to decap it or just stand in it. But this is a bad shot. It will be hard to miss. And even though he does miss that shot, he does do some ram damage. So he has time, especially when the bad shot bounces on him. I like how the E4 wants to report the E50, even though the E50 is literally doing all the work here. And they died so easily. And he gets a nice kill there. And then he's smart enough to not go deal with the Death Star, because even with HE the guy would be dead very, very quickly. And he's just going around. And that's, again, a good call. Because you don't want to go face to face with the Death Star if you have a choice. And if you're a Met, you have that choice. So let's see what happens now. He's being very careful with peeking here. And he has a nice corpse to half protect him. Because, well, splash damage could technically kill him, but still. And the other one, A3, they're basically facing off against each other. And now he's making also the good call to not try through the base, because that will give away where he was. And he's going in. And he's behind, Death Star is behind the building. He takes that shot. And that was so lucky. Oh my god. But that ram ending was just epic. That was a lovely game. And a lovely ace. Well done, look at that HP. The XP, I mean. So let's see how much time we have left. If there's time for another. No, with 7 minutes to go, we don't have time for another. But we have some more intermezzos later. So then we will see. So I'm gonna go back to my haven, because I like seeing that in battle, even as a corpse more. And we're just waiting a little bit for the room, which should be up quite soon. And then we are going to see, let me just check. Going all the way down. This actually gives a distorted chart, because Immor has played one match less than some of the other guys so far. Today at least. We're gonna go to Fort Despair, and Naval Frontier against Abuse. So I'm just gonna go back to the garage. And then I'm gonna call up Fort Despair for you guys. This is Fort Despair. We have 3 bases. A very open place, base A. Relatively closed off base C. And a base in the middle, B, which has cover, but it's also easy to get shots in. Overall, the only base that you can more or less safely cap is base C. But even then, it's tricky, because there's a lot of angles where you can get shot from. But this is it's a nice map overall. I like it. It's quite small again, but there's a lot of positions and a lot of ways that you can get shots in and get shots from, which makes it an interesting map in my opinion. And after that we're gonna get Naval Frontier, which is this one, with Met Base A. Well, technically C is supposed to be the Met base, but it's a lot easier to get to A as a Met than it is as a heavy, so yeah. So it will be fun to watch and see what people do. And it's an interesting map, this, because there's so much crossfire. Oh, there's the room. There we go, readying up. And I'm gonna take you back to Fort Despair a little bit. And Fort Despair is just, like I said, it's interesting. And, well, all maps are interesting in their own right, in their own way. But it's quite a heavy map. A lot of heavies do good here because it's quite small. Some maps don't always give you an advantage here. So we still have 4 minutes and 20 seconds left before we actually get anywhere. But yeah. And most teams here take a lot of heavy tanks with heavy Yums more than meds in order to hold. Well, we'll see what happens, what they do. So I'm going to take away the map. And we're going to go back into Blitz to get ready. So Immor seems to be mostly readied up already. With 3 minutes and 45 seconds left to go. But tanks are still changing a little bit. And there's less super heavy armor than I would expect, to be honest. But there's one thing that makes it interesting. E100s can do so well on this map though. But the trick with the E100 is that when people are using Premo, it's so easy to damage the E100 unless it's angled just right. But people also tend to be aiming just right in these kind of matches. So in 3 minutes we will be back on. And we will see what happens then. On Immor's side we see 2 IS-4s, an E100, a 268, a 113, an FV215B, and a mouse. Whereas on Abuse's side, no one has readied up yet. And they are still missing a player. So I'm hoping he will arrive soon. Just assuming it's the Heat IS. But so far we see 3 IS-7s, an IS-4, Chieftain, MK6 and a 268. Chieftain, in my opinion, is an absolutely lovely tank. But he quite struggles in Clan Wars, and I think that has most to do with the fact that people know that it's a juicy target. And pretty much like the 113, if caught alone, it can die so easily. And that makes things generally very difficult for anyone driving it, basically, because you have to make sure you have your teammates with you. And you have to make sure that you get support and that you not necessarily hide, but just stay safe. And that is not easy. Especially in a Clan Wars game, where people are focusing and trying to take out the weak targets first. So, about 1.5 minutes left to go. And we have the Chieftain still already up. And we are still missing a player from Abuse. And I hope for their sake that there is someone there, because going into these kind of battles with 6 players is not fun. Especially if it's 5, because the guy doesn't ready up. Just commentating on the chat there. No, that's not an option that you can have. It happens on the replay. The replay already shows the damage that you have and the damage that you blocked. But that only works on replay, so yeah. Okay, so now the Chieftain has readied up, but we still miss the 7th player. And this is not something that I wish on anyone. It's also less fun to win that way. More epic if you manage to win with 6 players, but it definitely puts you back. And at this stage in level, that's definitely not working for you. So in 25 seconds we're gonna go into the match. And we're gonna see what they do, and we're gonna see them kill each other off. 13, 12, 11, 10. I hate the waiting game, it's quite boring. And it's hard to find stuff to talk about continuously to try and fill it up. And at the last moment they get another player, and it's now 7 versus 7. So Abuse has 2 IS-4s, an IS-7, an E100, a 268, a mouse, and a Chieftain MK6. So both teams have quite a bit of armor and relative mobility, but a lot of firepower all around. That rate of fire on the 215, the FV is amazing. And it's a very troll tank. Sorry, I have a bit of an itch in my throat. So now we're just waiting for people to load in, and it's taking a little bit. But here we go. Let's see what they do.
Let's get this show on the road.
Up, and away. Okay. That is awesome. Love that. So we see the 215B and one E100 heading towards base B. Probably followed by the mouse. Whereas the 113 and IS-4 and another IS-4 are heading more towards the side and towards base A. We have the Chieftain MK6 heading towards C. He has been spotted. And there's first shots being fired. First damage done to the mouse. And there's some damage done to the other mouse as well. No one is going to have an easy time taking the base here, because they're basically facing off against each other. We have the Chieftain that is holding and looking back. And the FV215B that can't really do much where he is right now. And the IS-4 is in a bit of a precarious position, because they could easily push a little bit and get some shots in. But with the E100 you generally don't really want to, because E100s do make big booms. But now he's just fired, and that basically means that he's useless for a little bit. The mouse is behind there with a loaded shot though. And there goes some damage into the IS-4. We see a bounce on the Chieftain go up into the sky. But overall it's a bit of a stalemate again. We have IS-4 versus IS-4 and 113. We have 14 damage being done to the IS-4 with HE. And we have one IS-4 being a bit more aggressive now. And that will make it a bit hard, because they will both be waiting for that target. And the moment that they shoot... There he goes, that's quite a big shot. And that's a big shot again. The IS-4 is not in the position you want to be there. Yeah, down. But that was a big shot into the flank of the IS-4. And now these two have the choice to either push or risk getting shotted again. No one is capping any bases anywhere. But Abuse did lose quite a bit of HP now. We have the 268 that is holding behind there, but he doesn't really have a target. We see the E100 getting damaged a little bit. But overall, Abuse definitely has lost more HP. Oof, saying that, there goes a big shot into the E100. And we have the Chaser now pushing up towards the middle. And taking a line up to shoot the guys over here. And he misses. He hits the rock. That was very lucky for the IS-4 probably, because that would have gone straight into his flank and there would have been a big chunk of health gone. And now both the IS-4 and the 113 are pulling back, and again the 268 misses. The IS-4 in the middle being a bit too aggressive, losing some HP. Shots still being exchanged. And the IS-4 and the 113 there are using the rock. And I have no idea what happened there. Shots seemed to go straight through, but didn't. Still no base have been capped. We are almost at half match time. And we see minor damage being done to the IS-4 over here. Whereas the 113 and the IS-4 are both holding. And a shot goes into the 268, but the 268 does have a shot loaded as well. So if you can get that in, that's massive amounts of damage. But he goes for an HE shot instead, and that does very little damage. I think it was only splash damage even. So with very little HP advantage to Immor, half the match gone, only 3 minutes left, and no base is captured in any way. Someone needs to make a push at some point, because this is not really going anywhere. We have the 268 that is ready to fire now. So the 113, but he shoots the rock, and he's missed a lot of shots right now, and that means that he's either not really in a good position. Let's see what he sees. He's trying to catch him from behind the rock. And he doesn't again. And he's shooting through the bush, which makes it a bit difficult. But at the same time, when you lose that many shots and do no damage, you kind of need to reposition, in my opinion. Overall, We have the IS-4 Sweet Devil that has pretty low health. We have the 113 and the IS-4 here holding behind the rock. Overall, Abuse is losing HP, but so is Immor. And we only have 1 minute and 50 seconds left about. They need to make a push at some point to kill someone. IS-4 is pretty low on health. Not a one-shot yet. No. Except for the 268 maybe. But this is pretty passive play. And that was a big shot. Well, not a big shot. That was a nice shot into the 268. And the 268 is now a one-shot. And they need that kill. They need to make that kill. They need to make a kill. Anyone. Anywhere. One kill. 1 minute and 10 seconds left to go. And we have the 268 that is holding. And I understand that. But at this point, it would be so easy for the IS-4, the 113 and the 268 to push that abused IS-4 there. And kill him off to get that point advantage. And now we see that happening. I think they're going to push together. I think they're going to be killing the 268 over there. The IS-4 over there. And they're going to be able to get away with it. Because the other IS-4 is pulling back. We see the mouse that is losing damage. Immor is making a push. And we're going to go to the IS-4. There goes the IS-4. And now the other IS-4 is almost dead. The other IS-4 is going to die. And then it's going to be a stalemate again. So they need to focus fire. They need to make another kill. With only 20 seconds left to go. There goes another kill. But the E100 is going to die as well. So this is going to be very tricky. But now it's definitely on Immor's side. With 10 seconds left to go. If they just stay alive, they should have this. And they take out another gun. And they have the definite point advantage now. With 3 seconds left to go. 2, 1. Go! They got it! But ooh, that was very passive gameplay. But it's good that they pushed that IS-4, and that's where it started. That's where the movement started. And they needed that point advantage in order to win. So now we have another battle on Fort Despair. And we're just waiting for people to ready up so we can call the lineup. And it looks like Immor's taking a 1A3, so that's going to be interesting. Because again, 1A3 can do so much, but it can also do so little. And it seems that Abuse is almost readied up. And we see a 268, a Chieftain MK6, an AMX-50B, 2 IS-4s, an E100 and a mouse. Whereas on Immor's side we see 2 IS-4s, an E100, an 1A3, a 113, a Chieftain MK6 and a mouse. That's quite evenly matched. In a way that the AMX-50B functions as a sort of Death Star, not because of the shots that it does in one, the damage that it does in one shot, but more the damage that it can do with one clip. But it's now being exchanged for an E4, which, okay, E4 is a great tank, don't get me wrong, it is, definitely is, but it's tricky to use in Clan Wars because it's not very strong armored, and you can't count on your enemies on being potatoes like they would be in normal battles. So here we go, let's see the second match. Now we just have to wait for everyone to load in again. They're all poor Haven. And it will be interesting to see what they do with that Death Star, because as a camper it is a huge threat to the enemy team, but face to face it is so scary. I always pick the Haven. It's sort of like a thing that I do now. It's a sit tank. Okay. So here we go. Let's go.
Let's go.
So is that the American crew voices. And we have people intercrossing each other a little bit. And it looks like the 1A3 is going to go towards base C, or probably holding near there. Whereas the rest of Immor is heading more towards the corner again. And overlooking A, so a little bit of support and going towards base B. Whereas Abuse is focusing on A and B with a little bit of a flankish kind of thing. And the E4 staying back there, making it a massive threat. Just like the 1A3 on the other side. Because as long as it's not spotted, it's a very scary tank. We see some shots going in, some blind shot into the camping spot. But he's not there. We see a little bit of HP being lost here and there. But not all that much. Again, no teams going for the bases. And Stanley just... some HP being lost by the mouse, some HP being lost by the E100. And again, quite a stalemate, to be honest. They're not really getting shots into each other. But the mouse is definitely in a bit of trouble. He is getting shot too much where he is. And I think that's because he's in a very tricky position there, and an excellent position for the chieftain to just snapshot him repeatedly. And all he needs to do is pen with that premo, and he has it. Whereas it will be very hard for the mouse to actually get any shots into the chieftain. And the mouse is too big a target to really hide. And they're steadily shooting it out. But not really much is going on there. You literally see a sort of reflection of what's happening on the minimap. The stalemate itself, I mean. Chieftain took a shot there. And the E100 is now supporting the mouse, which I think is a good call. But overall, they managed to get a lot more HP from Immor than Immor managed to take from Abuse. And again, with well, not half the match gone yet, but with almost 3 minutes of the match already gone. Oh, that was a big shot into the mouse by the 1A3 there. That was a very nice shot. Especially like that in the flank. That's basically how you want them. And the 1A3 is hidden again now. Just gonna fly on over there. 215B steadily taking shots, but also doing damage. 1A3, the E100, I mean, doing some HE damage to the chieftain. And that was a massive shot into the E4 there. IS4. Now we have Abuse that seems to be pushing, but they're not actually pushing for the base. And we have the IS4 that is losing a lot of health here, and he's not going to survive for long. And he pushed way too far like that. I don't know why he did that. And now the point advantage is to Immor. And now they're finally capping a base. But I'm not sure if they're going to let him do that. At the same time, they don't see him, so they don't really have a choice. And there goes the second gun, and the mouse is almost gone. And this looked to be going to Abuse's side in the beginning. But right now, we see that Abuse has lost 3 tanks now. So it will be very difficult for them to take this back, even though they lost one now. We have the 215B and the other FV facing off against the chieftain. But they need to take out that FV because he can one-shot most of them. And we have the IS4 pulling back a little bit, and the chieftain not really doing anything. And they need to take out those guns. Now it's 5 versus 4, so they have a chance. All teams have a chance. Both teams have a base. But Abuse does have the point advantage because they kept the base earlier. we have the 1A3 now pushing. And if he gets spotted there, which he does... Ooh, that was a big shot into the chieftain. That does not look good for Abuse there. And now we see that Immor took back the point advantage. It's now 4 versus 1. And even if this IS-4 would not survive, this is not looking good for Abuse at all. And look at this position. He does take a nice shot there. But he needs to do more than that. Technically, they are all low on health. But I think he threw it away there just because he was too eager to try and get that kill before he was reloaded. Well done. Look at the damage that the 1A3 managed to do. Those are the games where it just works out very nicely. And that's the second point gone to Immor. So let's see when we get the next one. In 8 minutes already. Okay. Yeah, probably because those matches lasted quite long. So I'm not gonna go and show you a replay with that. So right now we're gonna get the last one of the night. And that is Immor versus Lexen. Lux Noven D. I always call them Lexen for some reason. And we're gonna do that on Canyon and Vineyards. So we start off with Canyon. This is Canyon with the bases. I really like this map. It's a lot of fun. It's not an easy map, but especially if you haven't met with a nice bit of gun depression and you can hold that middle and spot people everywhere. This is such a lovely map. And especially if you can get a cheeky B cap despite that and not get shot and murdered like instantly, it makes it all the better. And like I said, I really like it. And on the other hand, you have base A, which is pretty much protected by buildings and stuff, but there's a few lines of fire where you can get shot from. So it's not easy to cap, but it's a good base to have. And on the other side, we have the heavy base. Well, technically it's not really a heavy base, but I always call it that. And there's a lot of positioning there. If you get there relatively early, the other team won't be able to get there yet. And you get a free cap, but you also get a lot of damage, because there's a slight slope which you can use to peek boom down the alley towards their spawn. Both sides. I'm gonna take a cough drop there. And that's something I really like about that spot. From either side, it's just a lot of fun. And that makes it a very versatile map, because you can go pretty much anywhere in any kind of tank. The only trick is that you need to coordinate with your team and you need to take your team with you somewhere. So that's always what kind of can break you up. But especially in team battles like this, you can have exactly the support that you need, because you're all communicating together, you're all on voice together probably. And you can just discuss what you're going to do and when you're going to do it and how you're going to do it. So after we get Canyon, we can get Vineyards. Vineyards, this is the old map by the way, so it's slightly different. But the position of the base is about right. I might have switched A and B, I'm not sure. But yeah. Either way, I have two bases near the spawns, which are pretty much automatic to grab. Because that gives you a 3-point advantage, because it's pretty much impossible to decap those bases when you're capping them. And you have C in the city. And C is a much harder base to get, because it's wide open. But if everyone is focusing on the runes on the other side or on base A and B, then you have a free cap and a line of fire into either base. And that makes it quite a nice map to play on. I liked it more when it was dusk than when it was bright like it is now, because it was different and it was special that way. But I still like it now because the positioning and the dips and the cracks and everything, that's just something that I really like about this map. The only thing is that with the supremacy bases as they are now, with the OP corners where you can't get decapped if you're capping it from your own base, from your own spawn onwards, that's the only downside. There's the room. Running up straight away so I can't forget that. But then we still have 5 minutes before we actually go in. But yeah, that's Vineyards. But we start with Canyon, which is a fun map with lots of crossfire being possible if you're in the right position, or if you're in the wrong position when you actually get crossfired. But these are interesting maps because they always make for interesting tactics that way. So it will be fun to see what they do on these maps and where they go and what they focus on. Because I have noticed that so far, none of these matches anyone has ever really bothered about trying to get the cap. And getting that point advantage. So that's definitely, well, a bit odd. Because this is supremacy mode. But yeah, let's go into the game and see who goes where and in what. So we have Lexon that is currently sporting 2 113s, 2 AMX 50Bs, 2 IS4s and a bad chat. Which is relative mobility with 1 fast tank. And on Immor's side we see so far 2 IS4s, an IS7, 2 113s and an E5. And we're still waiting for 1 player, which has just arrived in the 183, but I'm not sure if that's what he's going to be driving. But we'll see. He's picking a 268 instead. But they're still changing around a little bit. They still have 3 minutes left, so they have plenty of time to pick whatever they want. But they're almost ready now. And it's going to be 2 113s, 2 IS4s, an E5, a 268 and a bad chat. And I think those bad chats are probably going to meet each other at the middle. And then going to be like, yeah, let's not be here and then go elsewhere. Because that's the one fun part with this map when you're driving a bad chat. Depending on where your team is and where they spot the enemy team, you can very easily just leave them, go around and cap the base on the other side. And still get shots in. So on this map, bad chat is definitely a really fun tank to drive. I'm still grinding it myself on my main account. And I really, really want it because it's so much fun. It's not OP. It can be at times, but it dies very easily. But just the speed and the clips and everything is just so great fun. So we still have 2 minutes left to go before we actually see a battle. We see some unreadying going on. Possibly getting different tanks or a tank swap. But doesn't seem it. Maybe change of camo or ammunition or equipment. That's always something I wondered at. Before, when I was a lot more competitive in Clan Wars myself, we actually had a team captain that more or less said what he wanted us to take. And I saw that, Andy. And basically that makes sense because your team captain is focusing on the teamwork and everything, and it makes sense that he would tell you what you should be carrying on your tank, because he should be able to expect you to do X, whatever it is. But if you have more HP, when people expect you to have more troll armor, or if you have a rammer rather than rammer rather than calibrated shells, and you can't punch shit, then you're basically in trouble, especially if your team captain is expecting you to have calibrated. To be honest, generally speaking, I always feel that in these kind of battles it's extra important to always use calibrated, because it's better to waste 1 second longer reloading than it is to bounce your shot on an enemy that knows how to angle. Because at this level, they all know that. So you will want to avoid that. And you will want to make sure that you pen your shots. So calibrated and free promo spam basically is something you need to be able to ready to do. Okay, so here we go on Canyon. Last matchup of tonight. This is nice, I like this. So now we're just waiting for everyone to load in. Oh my god. I like it when they do bantering like this, when they're messaging back and forth. It makes it a little bit less serious and makes it more fun. And in the end of the day, this is a game and it's supposed to be fun. So here we go, let's go. And we see Immor focusing mainly on base C together with the enemy team, so that's going to be interesting. We have the E5 going towards the middle and the IS-4 going towards base A. And we have 2 IS-4s going towards the middle from Lexon, but the rest is all focusing on C. And we have Batchat spotting Batchat and 113, and there's first damage being done already there. The E5 is trying to get a shot in but doesn't. And he doesn't know yet that the IS-4s are there, but now they've been spotted. And there's some big shots going in there. The Batchat running away. The 113 losing substantial HP there. And pretty much everyone losing HP there. And they're in a bit of a pickle there because they're getting in each other's way. They can't really maneuver freely. And they can't really effectively do this because there's steadily HP being taken all around. But that 113 is in trouble and he's not being helped by his teammates right now with the way that they're positioned. And shooting the ground does not help with that. In the meantime, we have the IS-4s that are pushing. We have Batchat versus Batchat going on. We have the E4 and the E5 together taking on 2 IS-4s, but they are losing HP. And they're at a disadvantage. And ooh, there goes the first 113. And Immor is definitely in a big trouble here with the way that Lexon is pushing. And they might be able to take out that 113, but he's not going to survive much longer. And Immor has already lost 3 guns now. It's not going to be long before they lose the 4th one. And the AMX is still reloading. And he does get a shot in. But there he goes. And now it's 6 versus 3. There's still some fire going on here. But they're definitely in a very bad position here because that IS-4 is not going to survive when he's standing like that. And they do have the base. And the 268 is doing massive damage. He's being murdered by 3 people. And the E5 is basically on his own versus a lot of tanks. And this is not looking good for the E5. And the E5 is getting shot from behind by the Batchat as well. And now it's time for a really epic color battle, but I have a feeling that that is not going to happen right now. And there he goes. And the first game is Lexon's. Very fast game, that. Let's see how long that was. Less than 3 minutes. And I think that might have been what broke Immor up. From what we've seen so far, they're perfectly content in playing it out and waiting quite a bit. But Lexon didn't give that time. They didn't give them that comfort. And they kind of pushed straight on in. Even though their Batchat took quite a bit of damage, they sent the Batchat away. And then just steadily crossfire those 113s. So now we see a different lineup at Immor. We see 1, 2, 3, 4 IS4s, an E5, a 268 and a Batchat. And on Lexen's side we see 1, 2, 3, 4s, IS4s, 2 113s and a Batchat. And this will be definitely interesting to see. Because that's a very similar lineup with slight differences. And I will be very curious to see what they're gonna do, where they're gonna go, especially after this last match, because that's exactly why I love being at sea. And you have the position working for both ways, but because Immor held back, Lexen could fully use that position. And that didn't work out well for Immor. Especially with the other Lexen guys creating the crossfire whenever they pulled back from the 113s. So that was actually, quite a good move from Lexen. 7 seconds left to go. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. And again, we are on Canyon. And we just have to wait for everyone to load in. Where did my Hafen go? There it is. All the way to the back, poor thing. So now we just have to wait. We've already waited in the waiting room. I don't want to wait here anymore. But someone is very slow at loading in. I like that. There we go. Everyone's finally here. And let's see what happens. And we see most of Immor again focusing on base C. And we see most of Lexen focusing on base A this time. We have the E5 going towards the middle again. That's gonna meet the IS4s. And I think the Batchat is now being more defensive when he doesn't have to. He could just go into that cap straight away. Now Lexen has gone to base A. They have been spotted. And now the Batchat is immediately going to C, which I think is a very good call. Because you don't want to get the point advantage. But there's 2 113s that have not yet been spotted. And they did get the cap. So that's a downer for Immor. But they have IS4s, which makes them a bit more troll. But they can't really push anywhere there because it's 2 versus 4. And the Batchat is steadily moving away, waiting to be unspotted before he does more. And now both teams have a base, but Lexen has a slight point advantage. And we have the E5 pushing up towards the IS4s. But he's also pushing himself into a position where he can crossfire base A. Possibly. He's not actually doing that. He doesn't have targets there. But he can't really do much of anything there. And the Batchat is flanking around, so we're gonna see some Batchat action. And we have the E5 trolling a nice shot into the IS4. And now he's putting back immediately to avoid getting shot because they don't know where everyone is. So the IS4s are very cautious with the E5. And he does take a shot there and he bounces his shot. Well, we're about to see some action over here, I believe. Because I think that this is going to be 4 versus 3 now. They're all pushing in. They're focusing on 113, which is a good thing. Because you need to focus fire at this point. But now they're shooting all kinds of targets. And that can cost them a lot of HP. Now they're focusing again, but they're literally driving into each other. That's not a good thing. They need to work on that. And we see 113 that is almost gone. And if this IS4 reloads, there he goes. But the E5 is almost gone. But there's another IS4 that just now vanished. The E5 dies. But this is not looking well for Lexen because Immor is making a massive push here. And the 4 tanks over there are not going to be able to shoot all the tanks here. The Batchat is being careful, which is a good thing because he has very little armor. But they are pushing that IS-4 relentlessly. And we have the Batchat that is now capping the bases all around. But Immor definitely has a point advantage. And they are pushing in. And they are going to take out those IS-4s. And they need to be careful doing that. And now the Batchat is taking base C as well. But we see the other Batchat that is focusing on the IS-4, doing a pass around and just getting shots into the IS-4. They are focus firing quite nicely, doing big damage and shooting down the money dude. And the Batchat is probably reloading now. The bases are in the favor of Lexon, but the guns definitely aren't. And that, ooh, he got deleted. And now we just have a full health Batchat that is running around. That's not nice to say. And they just need to take care that they get those bases. The Batchat has been spotted. Immor is grabbing the bases. They don't need base C because as long as they have base B, then Lexon does not have a point advantage and the Batchat can run as he will, but they will win eventually. And he's definitely in a tricky position there. He does take another kill, which is a good thing, but it's not going to be enough unless he manages to get base A, and they're going to intercept him before he does that, so that's not going to go well for the Batchat. We have the 268 that is almost reloaded, and he just has to look at him, breathe on him, and there he goes. That was awesome. Lovely game. So we're gonna get the third match, and now we're gonna go to Vineyards. And I honestly wish that Vineyards still had the dusk coloring. It was nice and easy on the ice. And it was the only map that had that. So in 1.5 minutes we're gonna see, and right now we see that Immor has gone for 4 IS-4s, a Patton, a Batchat, and a 268. So a relatively mobile team, especially with the Batchat and the Patton both. And on Lexon's side we see 3 IS-4s, 3 113s, and a Patton. Oh, one IS-4 has now turned into a Batchat, and the other has turned into an IS-7. They still need to ready up, so I'm not entirely sure, but there we go. So we're gonna have an IS-7, 2 113s, a 268, an IS-4, a Batchat, and a Patton. So that's almost the same team. But Immor chooses the IS-4 rather than the 113. And they have no IS-7. So yeah, this will literally be the last battle of tonight. And tomorrow we're gonna see another several rounds like this. And let's see, in 12 seconds we're gonna see what happens. I'm very curious if they were gonna push the city or if they're gonna push the ruins. I personally prefer the ruins a lot, but in the city you can grab that base if you're lucky. And at the same time, if you're not there, your enemy might grab that base. Here we go. And now it's dawn instead of dusk. My haven has burned out during the night. And in 30 seconds we're gonna go, let's see what happens. A, B, C, or a BC. A Batchat? Can go either way. We will never know.
Let's get this show on the road.
So we have the Batchat that's gonna grab base A, which makes sense because, well, that's a free cap, like I said. Whereas on the other side we see the Batchat doing the same thing with B. And that's a pretty, literally, same moment kind of thing. And we have an IS-4 cheekily going into the city, whereas Laxon is nowhere near there, so he might be able to just get a free cap there as well. There's blind shots being taken into A, but no damage being taken. Well done. And we have the IS-4 indeed going into base C and getting a free cap there, because no one is there to challenge him for it. The Batchat is going, but I'm not sure he's going to be arriving on time. And we see that people are being spotted, shots are being taken, no damage is being done. The IS-4 now has the cap, so Immor has a point advantage now, because they have the base advantage. And it will be up to Laxon to make a push somewhere. And the IS-4s here are in a pretty good position. It is a little bit tricky because it will be hard for them to get any damage in as well. But they're in somewhat of a ditch, and that can work out quite well. They are pulling back though, and damage is being done with HE here. And we see Laxon just... Ooh, that was a big shot into the 113. They're not gonna like that, but they're definitely making a push for the IS-4s. Tracking the IS-4. We have the pattern that is getting crossfired, but he's trying to support those IS-4s. The IS-4s are now safely behind cover. And we see the 268 that is pulling back, and somehow miraculously staying full health. Whereas Laxon is losing a lot of health with this. And shots are being taken both sides, and that IS-4 is almost gone. There goes the 113, but the 113 might be exchanged for an IS-4. We have Batchat versus Batchat. We see lots of shots going on. And it looks like Immor is pushing back. And they are focusing on those juicy 113s that just take damage so nicely. And there goes the IS-7. And ooh, that was a massive shot into the 268 there. But if they focus fire on the 113 while the 268 reloads... Currently, Immor has all the bases. The Batchat is trying to recap it, but he's very low on health, so that's not going to go well. The other 113 is almost dead. The 268 missed his shot there. And that's a very vital shot. Batchat is gone, 113 is gone, so now it's 268 versus 268 and IS-4. And the battle is already over because Immor had all the bases and the points went up way too quickly. Very nice gameplay. That cheeky cap on C worked out so well for them. Especially since there was no contest there. But those were lovely battles. Very nicely done. And that was it for tonight. We're just gonna have a look at the standing. At the scores. Some battles are still in progress, I believe. But we have Immor with 3 points here, not 2. We're just gonna see who's still going. Win is through, won all 3 matches. Nicely done. Then we have Alert. That has still going against PAX, but they won 2 and they lost 1. And that last battle should be over pretty soon. So we're gonna come back to that. Immor won 3. We have Laxon that won 2 and lost 2. We have Elm that won 1, lost 2. And they have no 2 or 4 because there's only 7 players, 7 teams in this. PAX still going against Alert that lost 3 so far. And Abuse that lost all 3 so far. So we're still waiting for Alert versus PAX. And Alert won. So Alert won 3, lost 1. Score is biased. Well, not biased, but it's tainted because of the fact that everyone misses a tour at some point. So the people that have 3 points now can have won them all, or they can have lost 1. And on the other side, we see Baton that won 3, lost 1. We have RZ. That's 1-3, lost 1. We have the no lives. That 1-3 and lost 1. Kraken. 1-2, lost 2. Hapkey. Let's see. Lost 2, 1-2. H1Z1. H1Z1 lost 2 and 1-2. Tercios Españoles. 1-1 lost 3. And Pat. That drumroll. Oof, lost all 4. So that's basically the setting right now. Like I said, everything here is a little bit twisted on the group 2 because it's 17s, not 8. But tomorrow we are... I'm gonna go back just one moment to show you. Tomorrow we're gonna be watching Immor versus Win, Immor versus Alert, and Immor versus Adam. So those are definitely gonna be very interesting matches. And by the looks of it, yeah, no, this is still 8 p.m. CET, CST. Basically that's it for tonight. Just in 22 hours and 18 minutes the next stream will be live. And I hope to see you there. It's definitely going to be fun. It's been fun gameplay tonight. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to join my Discord server if you have any feedback or anything. And I'll be happy to listen to you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good night.